I'm now going to hand it over to Duncan, our technical lead at CyberDuck.
Hi everyone, thanks for that, Shiv. And thanks to all the other speakers that are joining us today. There's some really good insights from all of us here. My name's Duncan Worrell. I've worked with Drupal for 12, 13 years in industries such as defense for the government, for extreme sports websites, fintech, a whole load of areas. And I thoroughly enjoy Drupal. I'm not quite evangelical, but I do love it. So let's go to the next slide. Let's get going. What's better about Drupal 8? Once upon a time, the goal was to launch a new website. Website development was all about launching a shiny new website, the end. That should just be the start of the story, really. It's not the end. Your website should evolve. Your website should allow you to react quickly to changing goals, and the CMS should provide access to all your data wherever you might need it, whether that's from a website or from within an app on a mobile device. Back in 2011, when Drupal 7 was first released, it was very good at delivering shiny new websites, but things have moved on. Many of you with Drupal 7 websites will have asked developers to add a new landing page or change to the layout of an existing page to support an urgent marketing requirement. And I'm sure that took longer than you expected. Drupal 8 and Drupal 9 empowers your users to create their own content. That frees up your development budget for what you should be using it for, and that's development rather than the provision and tweaking of content. And despite the title of this section, I'm mainly going to talk about Drupal 8 because the final version of Drupal 8, which is 8.9, is functionally identical to the first version of Drupal 9, which was released beginning of June, and that's version 9 of Drupal. Go back for a sec, Shiv. The roadmap for Drupal 9 is exciting, and you can read about that online. But for those currently on Drupal 7, the upgrade to Drupal 8 offers many tangible benefits. Beyond improvements to performance, flexibility, security, stability, and scalability that Tim's already touched on, one of the main focuses for Drupal 8 was the out-of-the-box experience for content authors and editors, the people who really use Drupal every single day. Here are some of the highlights to get you excited about your Drupal 8/9 website. First of all, straight out of the box, there's a brand new editor in Drupal. It's built into core, and those of you familiar with Drupal 7 will probably recognize the name CK Editor. It's built on CK Editor. There were several editors, WYSIWYGs, in Drupal 7. There's now just one. It's used for everything. It makes the development much more stable. It's got all the usual formatting you're familiar with, but it's now customizable depending on who you are and what you're doing. And it offers a host of new features, such as embedding content from external sources, such as YouTube or Twitter, simply by pasting in a URL. You can create custom styles that can be applied directly without the need for developers to get involved in changing a theme. There's better previews, and it also offers a mobile-friendly interface. That's in the editing side of things, not in the content viewing. So editors can now do their work on mobiles. Something else we've gone too far. That's the one. Something else that is really good for editors is InPlace Editing. So here's a website. It's for a site we're currently developing for the College of Policing. And up in the top right-hand corner, there's an edit button. Click the edit button, and all of a sudden you've got these little edit symbols, which mean I've highlighted 2. You can see there's 5 there. That means you can edit that stuff straight in the screen straight away. You want to change the title of that node, you click on that, you do it. You don't have to go into the edit page anymore. It makes it so much easier to get to your content and make it more flexible to edit. There's a new powerful drag and drop page layout builder. That lets editors build the pages they need. A layout is selected for a section, 1, 2, 3 columns, perhaps a stacked layout, and the user adds blocks to that layout to build up their page. It's all drag and drop. Those blocks can be content that's provided by the CMS, for example, a list of latest headlines straight out of Views. As Tim said, Views is now in core. It can be content from other modules, perhaps a map from the Google Maps module, or it can be content you've created somewhere else. Drupal 8 also allows you to create something called custom blocks, and think of those as mini content types. What it does is allows you to enter content to be add straight into your layouts, and it helps you build a coherent looking website whilst empowering your users to build those pages that they need. There's a new media library. This is built straight into the editor as well, but it's also a separate page, and it offers a single place for you to upload and manage all of your files, images, videos, audio, documents, and also embedded content. There's no more hunting around in your hard drive for a file you used last month. It's ready and waiting in the media library, and you can quickly find it by typing in a name or sorting by date or category. If you need to upload all the assets from a recent photo shoot, no problem. You can bulk upload the lot through the media library. And like I said, it's built straight into the editor as well. I put a few things here together. This is my sort of penultimate slide. It's all about content editing Drupal 8. Certainly this part of it I'm talking about. So there's a heap of new functionality to control that content publishing. With great power comes great responsibility. And we put the tools in place in Drupal 8 to make sure that that is a controlled content publishing workflow. So Workflows acknowledges that content has a life cycle. They aren't just drafts or published, as in Drupal 7. They may start as a draft and go to review, get published, go through a revision cycle, and eventually be archived. You can build flexible workflows that fit every single part of your website and can be specific to every single piece of content, or at least every single specific type of content. Content moderation builds on those workflows and controls who can do what within your team of content creators, and uses Drupal's powerful roles and permissions framework that many of you will be already familiar with. Revisions are created for all content types by default, so you can see who changed what, when, and they can tell you why. You can view side-by-side comparisons of versions and revert to an older version if you need. So hopefully you can see that there's lots to be excited about with Drupal 8. I'm going to talk very briefly about front-end considerations. We can probably just go straight into this whole slide. I think there's 4 bullet points.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk generally about these bullet points.
Sorry.
Okay, you carry on. So the theme layout in Drupal 8 uses a brand new templating engine called Twig. So what it means is the upgrade to Drupal 8 will mean that developers need to recreate any custom templates that you had that define the look and feel of your website. There's no easy migration route between PHP template, which was a Drupal 7 templating engine, and Twig. So it's a great opportunity for you to undertake a site redesign. And any site redesign is a great opportunity for you to look at user research. You can prune old content, as well as determining what functional changes you might want that Drupal 8 can give you. I know Mira's going to talk about that next, so I'm not going to steal her thunder. But she's also, one of the other things she's also going to talk about is accessibility. I'm going to talk very briefly about accessibility because Drupal's internal accessibility working group have focused very keenly on accessibility that's built right into the core of Drupal 8, in the same way that they've concentrated on the editor experience. Some of those new features simply work. Some will need developers and to apply their know-how to get the very best out of them, whilst others are related to design of the website. And I'm thinking things like color contrasts, and also with the content editing itself, to make sure that the content creators are aware of not repeating titles, using proper buttons, those sorts of things. That's the end of my session. Whilst the upgrade from Drupal 8 and beyond is relatively easy, I think we do need to acknowledge that the upgrade from Drupal 7 is not trivial. Whether you go to 8 and stop, or go straight to 9, which is the current recommendation. It's why many hundreds of thousands of websites have not made that jump in the 5 years since Drupal 8 was released. Yesterday's news that support for Drupal 7 will be extended to the end of 2022 should be welcomed, but not so we can ignore the problem for another year, but as a real opportunity to upgrade as soon as possible and to reap the benefits of a modern CMS. I hope I've been able to show you that that effort will be worth it. Thank you very much. Back to you, Shiv.
Thank you, Duncan. That was very insightful. Lots of great points there to digest and think about. Just see if we have any questions coming in from our audience. Actually, I do. One point I guess is worth raising is with everything that's going to be happening with the authoring experience, what do you think will be the most powerful feature that will benefit users across the board? Oh, Duncan, you're on mute there.
Oh, sorry. That happened to someone, wasn't it? It had to be me. From my point of view, Drupal 7 was quite good at creating a page, but the pages are very limited to how the developer saw those pages. They weren't very flexible. The layout builder is amazing. The media manager is amazing. Having one stable editor is really good. The workflows are nice to have if you're in a big organization. But for me, the layout builder and the media manager are proper magic. And I've got to applaud the Drupal core team for what they've done. The roadmap for Drupal 9, if you can find the details for it, it looks like there's more of the same coming. But they know Drupal 8 and Drupal 9 isn't WordPress. There's things we can learn from those sort of more, I don't want to call them hobbyist type CMSs, but those smaller websites, builders, things like Wix, Foursquare. There's things we can learn from there. And I think that's looking at the roadmap for Drupal. I think those things will come. So Drupal 9 is, and Drupal 8 and 9 are staging points. Drupal 9.1 is where the more magic starts to happen. And I'm really looking forward to where we go from there.